All right. You there, John? All right. What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing today? I'm Scott Jelnick with the Master Investor Academy, and this is the deal of the week. We are going to go over and break down John's last deal so we can get the ins and the outs, where he got it from, how he went about happening, and then obviously the big reveal, the check on how much you made on it. Welcome, John. How you doing?
I'm flawless. How about yourself?
Flawless. Only a few of us left. I love you
That's right.
saying that.
That's all right.
So this is John Ludenschlager. I like to call you Goldschlager. I don't know
That's
if you
good.
know that. That's what I call you. I'm like, oh, Goldschlager. I got to call Goldschlager. So you did a deal last week, John, and I wanted to hear all about it. But before we get into that, if you wouldn't mind, I would like if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been doing this, and that sort of stuff, just to give us an insight of who you are before we get into the deal.
Well, 38 years in the mortgage business and was looking for something that was similar to what the mortgage business provided me, and I found it in wholesaling when I attended one of Scott's seminars 2 years ago. So I've been at this 2 years. I probably closed maybe 10 deals, plus I bought four flips or four slow flips. And I'm looking now to increase the number of deals by the end of the year. I probably like to do 2 to 3 deals a month by the end of the year. I'm getting ready to, I think, spend some money on pay-per-clip. That worked for me last year pretty well. And I'm also looking to increase the amount of money that I'm allocating toward Deal Machine. So those, and also looking to do some more SEO for my website. My website's performed pretty well for me anyway. The last deal that I got, this one that I just closed, came off my website. The guy contacted me in early November, and we met at his house. And to to quote one of the guys that I tried to sell the property to or flip the contract to, it was a real pig.
What city was this house in?
Pardon me?
What city was this house in?
It's in Norfolk. It was in Norfolk,
Norfolk. All
right
right,
off
excellent.
Prince Sam Road, right off Prince Sam Road.
Excellent.
And so I went out and met with the guy and his future mother-in-law. And anytime there's an additional person at the site with them, I always get a little bit skittish because you don't know what kind of input they're going to have. But it worked out pretty well, and in fact, she liked me so much she sent me some peanut butter fudge.
Nice.
So
you always know a deal's good when you get a gift afterwards.
that's right. So I got a gift out of it. So I met with him and we talked for a little while. I went through the house. I did all the things you talk about. You know, how much you think you want for the house? I don't know. Well, if you did know, how much would it be? You know, that kind of thing. And gosh, it wasn't hard going through the house and saying, ooh. It was a mess. It was just a mess. And anyway, so when we got out, he said he'd like to have 70,000 for the house, and I said, "Oh man," I said, "I'm going to get as close as I can to it, but I just don't know." So I went out, sat in the car, and I penciled out maybe I don't know, I can't remember how much repairs, about 42,000, I think it was 42, 43,000. And I came back to him, and we talked for a little while, and finally he said, "Well, do you have a number?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, and I gave him the contract. I offered him 39,000 for the deal, and he just kind of went like this. Then his future mother-in-law got involved and asked me some questions, and he said. Then she called the next day. She said, "Well, the land's worth 65." I said, "Yeah, that may be, but you know, the cost of the repairs is so much it cuts into that value." Anyway, long story short, on that aspect of it, I called him back about a week later. I hadn't heard from him. Called him back a week later and asked him if he made a decision on anything, and he said well, I'm really looking for a little bit more money. And I said, well, how much more money are you looking for? And he said, well, if there's any way I can get another $5,000, is there any way I can get another $5,000 out of it? And I said, I really don't know. I have to defer to my partner a little bit. He's the one that's really the expert. So can I call you back tomorrow or the next day? And he said, yeah, sure. I said, well, let me ask you this. If we can get that $5,000 out of it, can we put this to bed? And he said, yeah, I think we probably can. I said, all right, well, then let me get with him and I'll get back with you tomorrow. So I sat on it for a night and put $5,000 on it the next day and said, okay, we talked about it. Yeah, we can do that. I said, so when do you want to meet and get the contract signed? So he said, well, how about next week? I said, no, let's do it tomorrow night.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah. So, but as a result of all of that, in the conversations, I found out that he hadn't been through probate. So he asked me, he said, can you help me with that? And of course, I said, sure, no problem. I've never been through probate in my life. I have no idea what was involved. As it turned out, it was not that difficult because in this case, there was only two heirs, and it was him and his brother. And his brother died in 1999. So it was only him that was left. So I contacted the courts and asked them what I needed to do. And they were Norfolk Court was very accommodating. They sent me a list of everything I needed to have. I got it all together. I sent it down to them. We set an appointment. It was about 2 weeks before we could get an appointment. And then in the process, I asked Eric, I said, do you have any money to pay the taxes on this? And he said, no. I said, well, the taxes could be as much as $1,500. And he said, well, I don't have anything at all. And I said, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll advance the funds and you agree to pay me back at closing. And he said, that's great. I'll do that. So I did. I did advance the funds. And then when we sent all the title work, we got everything taken care of. And the title insurance company did their title work and did their search and everything. And they sent information to their attorneys because his brother, the way the will was written from the mom was it went to Eric and his brother. Well, we didn't know if his brother had any heirs, so we had to get that cleared up. So that was the last thing that we had to do. I contacted Norfolk Court. They sent me the form to fill out, and it was a cover your ass form. Is all.
They wanted to be able to say it wasn't us. We asked them.
Yeah, it was a cover your ass form, and I actually had filled it out wrong. And Kim, not Kim, but Chris at Gunther's office, I talked to her about it. She says, "No, you got to do this and do this." So I did fill it out correctly, and we got it to them Monday of last week. And 2 days later, Chris called me and said, "We're ready to close." I really wasn't expecting to close until this week, like this coming Friday. But she did a great job. She was on top of it. She notified the title insurance company, and they did the update on the title. Sent it to her. She called me. We went through the numbers, and everything just gelled just absolutely perfectly. Alex actually bought the property from me. Alex, full of baloney.
So wait, he was the end buyer on it?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought someone else had bought it. Okay.
No, I had three offers on it. One was at 65, and then Alex and James offered me 75, and then Mike Fouts said that if I can get to 75, can I get the deal? He was the one that told me the house was a pig. And I said to him, I said, well, I've got an offer at 75. So if I'm going to sell it at that, then I think I ought to sell it to the first person. And he agreed with that.
All right. So now the big question: how much was your assignment check on this one?
So my assignment check on this now was $30,873. Yeah,
$30,873. First deal of
yeah,
2021.
yeah,
Congratulations. That's
yeah.
fantastic.
And it was, it really wasn't difficult. There was a lot of moving parts to it, but it wasn't all that difficult. And I think basically, I'm looking at from the time I started it to the time we finished it. I'm looking at about. I try to break things down on a monthly basis. My fee income, I'm basically looking at $15,000 a month for my efforts, and I'm okay with that. You
Yeah,
know.
not just that. So you've been doing a lot of deals, and one of the things I find interesting about you, two different things I want to talk about is you seem more active than most of the people that are out there doing it, and by that I mean every day you are working on a deal.
I like to talk to people, and if it's even if the deal doesn't go anywhere,
Right,
you
because
know,
we talk about almost every single day, John, and you have some question, and it may be a no deal, but you're out there every single day, which is, I love that because what is that going to amount to? It's going to amount to deals, and that's why you're going to steadily close deals because every single day, even when there are no deals, you're out there working on it, and I love
right.
that. The other thing I wanted to talk about, how old are you, John? I'll tell you why in a second.
I turned 75 in October.
75 in October.
Yeah.
So the reason I wanted to talk about that, John, is because I meet people all the time that are 50 and 55, and they're, what do they say? I wish I had done this earlier. It's too late for me. I'm not even going to bother. It's too late. And I'm like, I love talking to you. I love when we have these conversations because I'm like, John, you're 75 and you're just turning on the heat. I mean, can you imagine how much you're going to be doing a year from now after you, because you've been ramping up for the last year. By
Yeah.
next year, the amount you're going to be doing is unprecedented. And by the time you're having your 80th birthday, you're going to be 100 deals in, right? And it's crazy to think that you're starting now when so many people are like, oh, I'm 50, it's too late for me. It's over. It's too late for me. I should have done it when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I
No.
love the way you dove into it and you've been crushing it. It's inspiring every single day. And that's why I really like sharing you because you're one of the few people that every day has somebody that you're working with, whether it turns into a deal or not. Every day you're working with somebody and it's
Well,
activity wins every time.
right, when you even if it doesn't turn into a deal, you learn something from it. And that's the point of that's one of the points of what you're doing because it's just, although I've got a real estate background, I've got a finance background, I've got a mortgage background, and when I went to one of your seminars and we started talking about flipping contracts, I can't tell you how many times when I was in the mortgage business that people would say, "Well, I bought this house for this and I sold the contract." And just the light bulbs went off and said, "Well, hell, if they can do that, I can do this." And he's
Right.
talking about, and he's going to show me how to do this. And it's wheeling and dealing, and that's one of the parts of the business that's really a lot of fun. It
And
really
talking
is.
to people, getting out there. That's what you're doing. That's making the difference.
Yeah,
You're out there doing it every single day.
yeah, absolutely. I've done a number of deals that are wholesale deals. You've helped me through some of them. Some of them I've done on my own. Um, Alex and I put together a contract for deed for one of my customers. That was fun. That was when we had to sit for about an hour and count $6,500 that the
Right.
lady put in a plastic bag.
Yep. Hey, money's money. We'll take it.
That's right, And I counted wrong, and I said this is short. I kept telling her this was short, and she went through it, and then we went through it again, and she was correct. And it was all work. It all worked out, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That is absolutely awesome.
And the slow flips, I've got a slow flip that guys moving out the first of February. So Alex and I are going to start marketing that on the 1st of February.
You will fill it by February 2nd. There is so
Yeah,
much demand right now.
probably. Yeah, with the housing shortage that there is, and there's no question about it.
So I got a big question for you, John. I was going to say if you were new, you're not that new anymore. You're on your second year now. But if you were brand new, just getting into this business or thinking about getting into this business, what advice would you give to somebody who's watching right now, looking at you and thinking maybe I should get into real estate investing? What would you have to say?
Well, don't hesitate. That'd be the one thing I'd tell you. don't hesitate, and don't be afraid to fall on your face, because even if you're falling on your face, you're going to be moving forward. You're probably going to make a few mistakes. There's no question about it. I made a couple. Um, you can recover. It's not a big deal. And there's always another deal right around the corner. You just got to keep moving forward and finding the ones that are going to work for you. I used to be, you know, when I was in the mortgage business, we had we always tried to get a little bit more discount on the deal than was given to us by the company. And what I mean by that is, if the company said your price is 1 point, we tried to get 2. And the theory behind that is, I'm getting an additional point. I'm getting twice as much money for half the work. So I never got uncomfortable with that. I was a big overage getter when I was in the mortgage business. Not a robber. I didn't gouge people, but I did get a little extra for me and for my branch. Here, the thought process has got to be different. Now it's got to be called underage.
Right.
So the first couple times that I made offers on properties, I was thinking, God, this is just so far below the price. How can that possibly be? But then they'd end up taking it.
Because we're solving their problem. We're filling their needs. And that's what makes all the difference in the world.
Right. We're making the pain go away. Exactly right. Exactly right. So I've gotten to the point in this business where I'm able to determine what that pain is. And by determining what that pain is, making the offer less than what it might normally be in order to solve the problem that they have. So it's just a comfort level you have to get into. And once you get into it, it makes the business even that much more fun.
Absolutely. How you get comfortable? By doing. The more you do it, the more comfortable you get. If you think about it, you're always going to be stressed out on your first 1, 2, 5 appointments. But after you go on them and do a bunch, you'll naturally become more comfortable with every aspect of the business just by being out there and doing it.
Yeah, the first 4 or 5 deals, I didn't give them an offer on the spot. And now there was one up in Newport News that we did. I'm glad I didn't give an offer on the spot, because it would have been way off the mark. And on the way home, I called you, but you weren't available, so I called George, and we talked. And he's the one that told me, he said, well, that's a pretty good sized lot. You might be able to get 2 houses out of it. And I hadn't given that any consideration. So after I did give that some consideration, I changed my thought process and changed my offer, and we ended up with that property. It took several days because he kept shopping us and shopping us and shopping us and shopping us. So you got to be prepared for that. You got to make preparation for the fact that that's going to happen, because it's going to happen. You got to deal with it. You got to be able to cut it off too at some point in time.
Yep.
So anyway, for me, it's been a lot of fun, and it will continue to be fun.
Yep, we are just getting started. All right, John. Well, I'm going to let you go, but I want to thank you very much. Congratulations. I could not be happier for you. Every time I see you post a check or doing another deal, I could not be happier for you. And whenever you're ready, when the world opens up again, we'll go back and have some more margaritas at that place we went to at Town Center.
God, yes. We drowned ourselves that night.
Yeah, that was a good time. That place made some serious good margaritas.
It does. I'm gonna learn how to make those. Anyway,
well, it's all fresh squeezed. They squeeze everything right there. They don't use any mix.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It makes all the difference.
Scott. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, John. You have a fantastic day, and congratulations on the deal.
Yeah.
Salute, and we'll see you soon.
Here's to your deal. Here's to my deal. Here's to 2021.
Likewise.
All right.
Salute.
Salute.